Sa osnivačem avangardne pozorišne trupe Bazi, Atilom Pesyanijem, razgovarao je Nihat Kreševljaković.
It's not level.
So, because it's not, we didn't imagine this as some typical interview.
Yeah.
So it should be some kind of talks.
Okay.
Between.
We can hit each other.
Let's say, yeah, two friends. But let's start. It's the first time you're in Sarajevo.
Yeah.
And it's the first time that we have Iranian theater on the Sarajevo Theater Festival.
I think so. When I came to your lovely city, it seems to me that I have been there before.
I remember one Hungarian director who was on Mess Festival maybe 4 years ago. I remember Laszlo Hudi. He was telling me the story when he was in Iran. Mm-hmm. And he was telling me about the different reactions of the people to same situations, let's say. Mm-hmm. And I remember he said that he was on some it was, let's say, kind of theater in some Iranian village. And he was telling about the scene. There was some I don't know what was the story, but in one moment the guy, he approached with the sword to the actor. He just did something like this. He had something like some kind of he was like this, and he had a head here. He touched him here. That head fell down. Another guy came with the blood, and he put that blood on him. And he said it was like a cheesy scene. But he turned to the audience, and he saw that everybody is crying. So he was telling me how people they accept the language of theater in the different way.
First of all, I must say that Hungarian directors saw very important traditional theater in Iran that we call it ta'ziye. It's not really theater, but religious performance, something like miracle mystery or something like this in the Europe. Everyone knows the story when they are watching it, and they are sitting or standing around, but they or believe that this is not a story, this is not a performance, this is not a theater, and only happening what happened before. Yeah. So it's very real for them. The audience can see many things that he is going under his shirt and then with blood, but the audience believe it and they are crying. They are watching. Sometimes they understand something, sometimes they don't understand, but they are trying to know what is happening. In some case, like my performance, it's very difficult because the Iranian audience wants to hear more than seeing. Because this is a tradition in Iran that they always telling stories and telling stories coming to theater. So the audience, Iranian audience, wants to hear the theater. Yeah. In a performance like me, that like ours, that it's without dialogue, it's very difficult to have this connection. But the new generation use Iran completely different. I think they like it.
For me, for example, it's interesting. Another story is the story of the duck, which is very important. Are there different reactions of ducks in different countries where you perform?
They have very, very interesting stories, and they're almost they are the position of the country. For example, when we performed in Tokyo, in Japan, the duck was like this. In Italy, in Bologna.
When people go to theater and if they see it's Iranian show, they have different expectations. Usually, when people, by my experience, when they go to watch some, let's say, like Asian theater, they always expect something more folkloristic or something like that. Yeah. It's is this unusual also for Iran, or it
more or
it
less.
Is, yeah. And how it goes, doing like something which could be described as, let's say, experimental theater. Yeah.
The situation of experimental theater is very young in Iran because we had before experimental theater before revolution, and after revolution, the text and the performances going to how I can say, going to show the revolution, the enemies, the friends, and very straight political things. Yeah. And in this case, experimental theater was a little forgotten. And after a while, me and some others, very few, began to pull out the experimental theater from the soil, from the grave, and we breathe it and it again alive in Iran. And now we have some youth companies, some young groups that they are really great in experimental theater, and I love them. And one of my hobbies in Iranian theater is finding these people.
I mean, because I'm also interested in Islamic art, and okay, we can talk about the art, but if we talk about the Islamic art, how much it could be described as Islamic art too?
This one? What Islam says? Islam says that there is some kindness between the people can change the world to heaven.
What is the reason and how it happened to have such young people involved in art?
Many things. I think this new generation are very talent and intelligence, and they can find their ways in many different ways. One of them is art, and art is very important for the new generation in Iran because it's a new language for them.
We are both very tired, huh? I retired after the show, huh? Mm-hmm. I'm tired last few days. Anyway, for me that was really interesting experience in being when I watched this show in the Podgorsk and also tonight.
What was the difference between these two shows that you saw in Podgorica and here?
Duck, of course.